You are listening to Core, a show on Code Zero Radio that plays bands located in the Fox Cities. A show to find and discover new music. Hosted by Andy McNamara.
If this is your first time tuning in, Fox Cities Core is a live and interactive interview show that broadcasts on WCZR Code Zero Radio, as well as the Code Zero Radio Facebook page and the Fox Cities Core YouTube page. Now, my next guests, they're a post-rock trio that call Oshkosh, Wisconsin home. Their latest release is called Nervous Strut. I'd like to welcome Smoke Free Home to Fox Cities Core. How are you guys doing today?
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for doing this. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about you guys, and I wanted to find out what the buzz was about.
We're trying to fix Kev's amp. It's buzzing.
And it's interesting. Your band is fascinating to me because there's not a guitar player. And then, is that something, a decision you guys just came to because we don't need one? I mean, Kevin does such a good job at it. Sounds like there's a guitar in there, and I had to go look at YouTube videos of you guys playing just to see. But how did you come to get your sound?
That kind of came from a precursor, like my solo stuff I was working on. Ended up splitting between two amps and using some different effects to kind of fill out the whole sound. Definitely have drawn influence from Jesse F. Keeler, the bassist from Death from Above 1979. He's a very notable inspiration on the sound. But yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It sounds awesome. And also, one thing I find unique is you and Alex will switch instruments during shows for certain songs.
Yeah.
Were you a bass player before you started playing drums?
Yeah, actually for a little bit because I sucked at the drums and my dad was like, maybe you should just learn the bass guitar. So
is that something that you look forward to during shows to kind of take a break from the kit?
It helps a lot.
So what's harder, drums or bass?
Drums come more naturally, so I guess maybe bass, but then bass is kind of easier because I'm using less of my body, so I don't know. It's a piece of horse.
And Jesse, your vocals to me they're very energetic, very powerful. Remind me a little bit of I don't really like comparisons, but a little bit of Milo from the Descendants, just the kind of a aggressiveness in there. Did you, when you started doing vocals for Smoke Free Home, did you get a little pressure from the guys to maybe strap a guitar on, or was that something you guys tried for a little while and decided against it?
No, I think I made it very clear from the beginning that I don't have the patience to learn any instruments. And we kind of liked that we were different with no guitar.
Yeah, we don't believe in guitars.
Yeah.
I've made the joke on stage. I forgot my guitar at home, but we'll see how it goes. But no.
What's the reaction like when you guys show up at a gig or something and the venue's not really aware of how the band's set up and they see the bass, the drums, and a microphone?
It takes people by surprise. I forget. So people mention it, I'm like, yeah.
Well, you guys, you're a pretty fresh band. It's like you started last year. Were you guys I know, Kevin, you mentioned you were doing a project before this.
Yeah, I never really ended up doing anything. That was just kind of some personal material that I kind of wanted to record, which I'm still kind of in the process of recording.
That's good.
But before that, I was in a band, Fools and Lovers, for a little bit, which that we ended up breaking up right when COVID hit.
I liked Fools and Lovers. You guys had a song called Old Man.
Yeah.
We played that on Code Zero.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
So if I can ask, what caused the demise of Fools and Lovers?
It was kind of a dramatic situation. I don't want to go into too many details, but there's a little falling out between certain members, and we ended up splitting up. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like kind of a shock because Fools and Lovers, they were starting to get some attention, and then all of a sudden it was done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it seemed very sudden.
Yeah. So then this band, how did the three of you guys get together?
I think we were all itching during quarantine.
Yeah.
I was talking with Kevin about recording some covers, just seeing what we could do. I guess we knew that we'd need a drummer eventually, but I had a couple ideas up my sleeve, and you knew Alex. How'd you know him again?
Well,
we
I was in a band previously too, and we played like one show maybe with Fools and Lovers, so we kind of knew of each other.
Yeah, there's that.
Slightly.
I mean, I guess we went to school together too.
Yeah.
There's that. But
Of course.
and then I think during the quarantine, me and Alex ended up jamming one time. So I had it kind of fresh in my mind that Alex would totally be down to do some drumming or
Yeah,
might
I was
be interested.
so desperate. I was depressed and wanted to play music so bad.
No, you mentioned Alex's name, and I remember being very impressed with Bliss.
Yeah,
Just a
Bliss was-
solid punk sound, and we tried it out, and absolutely.
Yeah, I remember he responded to my message like in a half an hour. Just yes, I'm down.
So that was the name of your previous band, was Bliss?
Yeah, it was just like a three-piece punk rock band, bunch of high schoolers.
It was solid.
Sounds cool.
It was fun.
Jesse, were you in a project before this, or is this your first?
I wrote lyrics for Fools and Lovers,
Interesting.
all their original songs. Yeah, and I did kind of like being on the sidelines.
So I was going to get into it later, but I'll just ask now. Reading through the lyrics for Smoke Free Home, it is like it's poetry. Some lyrics, when you're reading them, they read like lyrics. Your lyrics read like poetry, which I found interesting. It was different.
Yeah, that's how I've always written. I've always been kind of a poet, and yeah, and I liked that it kind of contrasted the heavy delivery. I like that.
So then the three of you get together, magic happens. The first jam, or did it take a little bit to get things rolling as far as chemistry?
No, I think it worked out.
It clicked
pretty
like
well.
right away, I think. Yeah.
So I think we started with 3 covers, and we kind of shot it towards Alex's way, like, hey, maybe learn these, and we'll see what happens. We can start there, and then maybe play around with some original ideas. And yeah, I think it was a pretty immediate click.
I mean, no one was playing shows at the time, so it's not like there was a lot of pressure. It was just very low pressure, and I think we're all very, very low key guys. You know, very calm, and we definitely got along. And
Do you remember the 3 covers you jammed on? I know you've played Bad Guy during your shows. Is that one of the 3?
No.
no,
It was Worms by Viagra Boys. And then there was 2 more.
we did Black History Month by Death from Above, 1979,
And then
and
Televised Mine.
that's
Ah,
right, by
yeah.
Fontaine's DC.
Yeah.
Which I'd never heard of any of that stuff before. And they're like, oh, you want to do some post-punk? I was like, punk? Yeah, I know punk.
Half of that, yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you guys were into early on. Like when you got into music, how old were you? What bands were you listening to? Are you still listening to the same stuff, or did that sort of evolve over time?
My first favorite band was AC/DC, and I still love them. I mean, I don't throw it on as often, but I definitely revisit that every once in a while. They're like huge for me growing up. And then like high school, I hit Nirvana, and then eventually started getting into more of the punk stuff. So Screeching Weasel, Descendants, Misfits, big one. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I started out with some hand-me-down classic rock CDs, and then I had a country phase, and then I had a rap phase, and I don't know. I think it's resulted in a very well-balanced style and taste. But lately, it's been more post-punk, and definitely what's going on in the UK. And that was where I got the inspiration for this band.
yeah, definitely started with like classic rock, that whole realm when I was younger. Cream, definitely notably, I was obsessed with Cream when I was in like high school. And then like Stoner Rock, Queens of the Stone Age was a big band I was really into. And then yeah, and anything and everything. Then actually Jesse really got me into Aesop Rock. He's probably one of my favorite artists. Listen to him all the time. And then even jazz, blues, really anything
It's a Aesop Rock. What genre is that?
like hip hop.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a really rounded, like, interest in all different types of music, which obviously it flows great into Smoke Free Home. How did you guys come up with the name Smoke Free Home?
Well, as a band, we are primarily in the business of selling shirts. And I've learned that things sell better online when you put Smoke Free Home on it.
We were gonna buy a used couch, and we just saw Smoke for Home, and we were like, "Wow!"
It was either that or handmade vintage. Rare.
Your first release, you released an EP, self-titled EP, June of 2021. How long were you guys together at that point when that came out?
About 4 months.
Yeah.
So really quick.
Yeah, because we kind of formed in late January, early February of last year, and then we'd started recording that by like April, I think. So we didn't have it out by June until June, but I think we had started recording it just like a couple months after started.
Yeah, we really wanted to have something ready to go so we could just jump out there and play some shows and have it available.
There was a track on there called Blue Hands, which I was wondering, is that sort of a love letter to the Midwest?
Absolutely. I wrote it while shivering outside on a cig break, and it's very true.
Well, again, the poetry aspect of the band, I find really, really fascinating, because if you just heard the music in passing, it's some punk rock, but it really is. There's way more components to Smoke Free Home than meets the eye, and just all the way down from your playing styles to the lyrics, and even your shows. What I've seen, they look like an event. So that self-titled album comes out, and did you just release digitally, or did you print up some copies of that?
At first, it was just physical, and then we got Bandcamp figured out. We figured we should have it online.
Was this the first time that you guys were releasing stuff using Bandcamp and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never done anything like that before.
So as far as learning that, I suppose that was another, hurdle to get over, as far as how do you release it. When you started subsequently releasing things, I'm sure from releasing the first self-titled album, you felt a little more comfortable getting it out there right away.
It wasn't terribly complicated. I guess we like to keep things simple. And yeah.
How do you feel about like Spotify and DistroKid, CD Baby?
I know there's some issues that people have with Spotify, but I don't know. It's never been about money for us, and so we just want to have it available and
I think we
accessible.
use DistroKid.
Yeah.
Just because I tried doing CD Baby and got a little confused, and so I moved on to DistroKid, and it was a little bit easier. So I was like, oh, my brain can handle this one.
So after where did you record that self-titled EP?
We recorded it with a man named Randall Darbosh at Sky Ranch Studios. And then I was recording drums for a different project, and then Randy suggested bringing these guys out, because we still had the drums set up and everything, just to see what happened. And it ended up being our first EP.
Yeah. He's a real cool guy. Very chill.
And then we ended up recording Nervous Strut with him as well.
I was going to ask that. So you had the experience was so good the first time that you went back and did it again.
Yeah.
Was it easier recording Nervous Strut after doing the self-titled?
I guess it was just a different approach, because with the first EP, we didn't really expect anything out of it. It was more so, let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. Whereas Nervous Strut was, all right, we were going in with ideas, with with the expectations of a good product. And then we did the first EP a little more live, recorded, whereas we multi-tracked everything on Nervous Strut.
We had a comment from Sandra. Thanks for tuning in. She wants to know your Facebook link, if you know that offhand.
HTTP hashtag slash. No.
It's just Smoke Free Home.
Yeah, Smoke Free Home. If you type in Smoke Free Home on Facebook, you probably find it easily, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of bands
Yeah.
called Smoke Free Home.
It'll pull up some marketplace listings. Yeah.
You might find something really nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys change your recording approach from the self-titled to Nervous Strut as far as, like, some bands like to do stuff live with the full band, some bands like recording in pieces? Did you guys do it the same way on both releases, or did you change it up?
No, the first one was mostly live. And then, because, it was very low pressure. We were just like, well, what happens, happens, and it takes as long as it takes. And it turned out fine, good enough. But the newer one, we had an opportunity to really get in there and have it sound right and sound perfect. And it was a lot of messing around.
Yeah, and we definitely had an advantage being friends with Randy to be able to spend a little bit more time there. And he was pretty loose with pricing and whatnot, so to be able to spend more time fiddling around with things, getting different sounds, approaching things differently, kind of experimenting.
A lot of late nights.
Yeah, a lot of late nights for sure.
This is from a clip with 94 Distortion. They were on earlier in the year. Let's play it and see what you think.
Band reaction. Band reaction.
As far as the scene goes in Oshkosh, do you feel there's a different scene in Oshkosh compared up to Appleton and Fond du Lac?
Oh yeah, I'd say everywhere is different.
How is it different?
I feel like Oshkosh right now is doing really good. I always just say youngins, we're old, but there's the band Smoke Free Home, and they're really kind of cultivating something pretty awesome. So I think Oshkosh is pretty creative with the different types of bands that are playing around here right now. It's not like a Green Bay sound or Milwaukee sound. Oshkosh is pretty diverse in the rock and roll.
Yeah, there's a lot of younger bands that are coming up and booking more shows at different places. Kind of like, how we used to do it.
Generation Y, who we're playing with tonight.
Yuri from Generation Y's books a lot of shows at Jambalaya in Oshkosh. It's a cool spot for it. All ages. It's good to have all ages or an all ages spot back. So there's just a lot of younger stuff happening right now in Oshkosh. And admittedly, I'm not an expert on the Appleton scene or what kind of current state it's in. I just know my friends from back in the day that are still there, and they're still punk, so it still exists.
What's your reaction?
He's got great taste.
Yeah, we love those guys.
So, so the Oshkosh scene is. They were talking about like the strength of the Oshkosh scene. I think Brian and Sam said they kind of put you in the youngins category there, which would mean the up and coming generation. But do you guys notice as far as the scene right now? Do you feel it's healthy? Do you feel it's growing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he mentioned Yuri, and he's busy. Yeah, he's always booking shows. I mean, if we need help filling a slot, we'll talk to him. And more house shows that we've been playing.
Yeah.
Which are awesome.
Have you made it up to Appleton much? I know you did Misfits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we played a couple places in Appleton, maybe.
Yeah, we'd like to play at a couple more places.
Sam also had a new question. He asks, this is a good question, Sam. How often do you practice, and do you experience diminishing returns from playing too often?
We practice at least twice a week. We got to keep it regular, and we always have a plan when we go in there. Diminishing returns from playing live. That's a good question. Not yet. Not yet. What about you guys?
I don't even know what that means, so no, it's not happening.
Does it not scratch that itch the more you play?
I'm plenty scratched.
Yeah,
And
you're an itchy
I'm
guy.
itchy, so I think everything's fine.
Do you notice that if you do play, like let's say you're playing at Misfits and then you play at Misfits again, and then again like 3 times in a month, does that kind of burn people out as far as getting people to actually leave their house and come out to the shows?
Returns from the audience.
We make a good point to not do that too much. I mean, like the Reptile Palace is like our home bar. We love playing there, but we won't play there like more than once a month, or even maybe bigger gaps than that. Just
They've
'cause
asked us not to.
No,
No,
we're not supposed to go back.
yeah, no, we usually have. That's a place where we usually have pretty good turnout, and Misfits too. They go nuts.
Let's see. We've got another question, a multi-part question, and another shout out to to Sandra. She runs Digital Revolution Radio, so she's going to reach out to you guys. Sandra, thanks again for tuning in. I know you tune in quite a bit. We've got a multi-part question from DJ Bear, who hosts Amped Up on Code Zero Radio Tuesday nights. Jerry's famous for his multi-part questions. So part 1, if you were to add another instrument to your sound other than guitar, what would you choose and why?
I think keyboard would be really useful.
I have to agree with Jesse. Probably a keyboard, a synthesizer of some sort.
Or a saxophone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talked about that before.
Absolutely.
Or like
Viagra Boys does
A
that.
kazoo or a slide whistle, something easy for Jesse.
I'm so stubborn. I suppose I could learn if I needed to, but
Would a fourth member be something you'd entertain, or would you just
I really
Take
don't
it
want to now. This is just magic. I don't want to mess with it.
Especially, we got a chemistry thing going. Don't want to.
It would have to
Yeah.
be like a cat or something.
I don't think we could fit a fourth person in the car, so
Oh, yeah, you'd be screwed.
yeah.
the second part to Jerry's question? Do any of you have cool nicknames or aliases? It's a good one too.
Dude, I wish.
No, I don't think so.
Not that we call them to their face. Yeah.
It's all very secretive.
No, I guess not. No, we all just go by our very long names.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Jesse, you've got a very long last name. How do you even pronounce that?
How many
Tube-
letters?
I'm going to try it.
Not that long.
Tubzewski?
That's a common guess. It's Tubaszewski. It's Polish royalty, actually.
And if you guys are okay with giving your last names, because this is really unique. All three of you do have hard to say last names.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not from here.
So I don't know. Alex, how do you pronounce your last name? Lautenschlager?
I don't know.
That sounds like a...
Laugh and
People,
slaughter.
Lautenschlager. Honestly, people will be like, "Is this how you say it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you just said it." I mean, however people say it, it's pretty much good for me. I say it differently. I still don't know.
Kevin, your last name is Sotliner.
A sunlightener.
That's pretty cool, you guys. Jerry, thanks for the questions. And again, you can tune in to Amped Up on Tuesday nights on WCZR Code Zero Radio. Jerry's got just a lot of great music on his show. In fact, he introduced me to Fools and Lovers back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you guys find it difficult, like after shows, do you like talking to people that come to see you? If people have, the compliments, hey, great show, and maybe people you haven't met, is it hard to kind of take the compliments? And I mean, do you find that difficult, or it's easy?
We have huge egos. So
I
fine.
No, I love it. We love it, and that's why we go, and that's the people that we want to hear it from. Yeah, absolutely,
Have you guys started writing material for the next album yet?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like we're always moving forward. We're always writing something. I've always got something in my pocket, and Kevin won't stop. So yeah, absolutely.
So Nervous Strut, that came out in May 2022. You released the single Yellow and Red a little bit prior to that. There is a lyric on here, a very, again, poetic line that I really like. And I just wanted to write it down so I could let you know. It stood out to me. She punched the clock and it punched her back.
That's right.
Love it.
Fine.
Who hasn't felt that? Yeah, the song's about it's two different kind of vignettes about people at different points in their lives and their struggles. And she, I don't know, she works all day every day and kind of has trouble remembering why, you know, not making
Swang.
enough money. And yeah, it's about those moments of desperation and being able to find a reason to swing.
Alex Gutenberg, he says Turbo Jet Ski. Is that a nickname?
There you go. Yes, there's the nickname. That's from high school.
Alex, thanks for the intel there.
How do you forget that?
Thank you. Yes.
So the Nervous Strut, great title for the album. Who designed the cover?
It was kind of a collaboration, I'd say.
I did the first one for the most part, the self-titled, and so I wanted to let somebody else do it. And Alex is a whiz with graphic design, just on his phone, and it turned out very good.
I don't believe in computers, so
It's a fad.
So you did that. You did the cover art for Nervous Strut on your phone.
yeah.
What can't you do on your phone nowadays?
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
I don't know.
So you have no background in graphics.
Nope,
No,
not really.
I think the album cover is pretty cool. The album itself has 6 tracks, and as far as so you're writing the lyrics, Jesse, and what's harder, the writing the actual lyrics or figuring out what the title of the song is going to be?
Well, sometimes it is tough, the title, but I don't think that matters so much. I mean, once people know it, then they know what they're looking for. But lyrics, it's tough piecing it together sometimes, but I'm confident that when it's right, it'll feel right. And then I'll share it with these guys, and they're like, that's awesome. I won't share it with them until it's absolutely finished, until it's a finished piece. Like, this is what it's going to be. This is how the song has to be. But yeah, all the other ideas come from them.
Do you, Kevin and Alex, ever suggest edits to your lyrics?
They know not to.
We don't talk about that.
No,
next
absolutely.
question. Next question.
Do you ever suggest edits to their bass or drum parts?
Nothing that they don't appreciate. Am I wrong?
No, I say that's definitely kind of how the process works. Is usually I'll kind of have little days where I'll just pump out a couple, ideas, send it to them, and then usually then Jesse will kind of start writing to whichever ones that he writes to, and then he'll bring it up, and then we all kind of get together. And I don't know, a lot of times me and Alex kind of jam ideas together as well. But
I feel like they get impatient with me sometimes, but they know that when it's ready, and it'll be good. And it's worth it. We usually do a couple at a time, though. I feel like that's how it's been so far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is the you said you had material for the next album? Is it following in the same vein as Nervous Strut, or are you going into a different direction?
Pretty much the same direction, I think.
As far as sound, I think we're branching out a little bit.
Yeah. Notably, one of our newest songs, I think we only have performed it maybe 2 or 3 times, called Dirty Perfect. It's actually our first love song. And definitely has a different vibe to it. A little chiller, less distortion. Yeah.
Yeah, and people are responding to it. That one's for my girlfriend. I promised her that I'd do one. It took a while, but I did. Yeah.
Does she show up to all your shows?
Most of them, yeah, absolutely. She's a busy girl too. But yeah, as far as the next album being different, I think I am branching out as far as lyrics. The Nervous Strut was a lot about anxiety and stuff, and I feel like I got that out of my system. I put it out, so I'm like, well, there it is, and then I kind of move forward, and I'm able to make changes and grow out of it. And so, yeah, still writing songs about body parts and animals.
We love those.
So before you guys were playing in bands, were you going out to see a lot of shows? Were you raised in Oshkosh?
Yeah.
Yes.
All three of you. Okay, so before the bands, were you guys going out and seeing shows?
Yeah.
Do you remember some of the bands that you were going to see? And did they inspire you to pick up instruments? Or is that just something you think you were headed for anyways?
Yeah, I saw a lot of live music growing up. I mean, like countless stuff. So I mean, it's always been a thing for me. But as for like local shows, like smaller venue kind of things, a couple that I remember, there was a Cold Black River and Iron Price at the Reptile, and that was when I was like 16, 17, and that was awesome. So that was kind of more inspirational to get into like the DIY kind of scene, like local stuff. Yeah.
One of my favorites was Grim Waters. If you're listening, find a drummer. I can't wait for them to come back. I want to play a show with them. You remember them?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think we played with them with Fools and Lovers once or twice.
Very loud.
Kevin, did you go see shows?
When I was younger, not really. But then once I got older, even like around the Fools and Lovers age, just kind of like getting into that scene and actually going out of my way to go to local shows too was really cool to kind of get introduced to the whole local scene.
Well, you mentioned Alex and Jesse, you guys were seeing stuff at Reptile Palace. How did it feel to actually step on stage and play there for the first time with your own band? Was it kind of a weird feeling?
It was a rush. It was awesome.
I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
How thick do you think the posters are on the wall there?
At least 2 or 3 deep.
You could excavate and go back,
Yeah,
like,
right.
probably through the years of the Oshkosh music scene. But Oshkosh has other stuff too. Have you ever taken in like the shows at the Leech? I can't remember what it was. Riverfest or Waterfest?
Waterfest.
Have you checked out shows there?
Oh, yeah, I've been to plenty of shows there. Yeah, saw Joan Jett there
That's
a couple years ago. That was good.
I saw Manchester Orchestra around that time.
I don't think I've actually ever been to Waterfest.
What?
Wow. That's messed up. My dad played there once. It was awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
What instrument does your dad play?
He plays the drums.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned kind of early on. He said something.
Yeah. But yeah, he was in like a Rush tribute band that played there once, and they were really good.
Is your dad still playing music?
Not with like a group, but he wants to.
He'll hop on Alex's set when we're
Yeah.
not looking.
So if Alex ever got sick, would your dad step in to cover the kit during the Smoke Free Home shows?
I would love that.
That would be great.
That's cool. And Jesse and Kevin, did your parents, were they musicians or play an instrument?
No. I feel like nobody in my family really plays music. I think my brother, when he was younger, he played guitar for a little bit, but he ended up giving it up. So yeah, I'm kind of like the only one.
Nobody growing up. And I feel like, honestly, at least when I was younger, living with my mom, she didn't really even listen to a lot of music around the house. It was a real shame. But then I think I kind of slowly got her back into music. I made her mixtapes. And, but no, it was, I mean, enjoying music and writing it was something that I completely had to develop for myself.
This is the single you released called Yellow and Red. What does the muse behind Yellow and Red?
That's just about anxiety. It's about how you can make your home in it and how you get used to it and you kind of make it your own and make that your personality and how it is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in a lot of ways. And it's hard to move forward like stoplights. All your lights are yellow and red. And yeah, it's true.
We had a question here from a couple questions. Let's get to them. The first one's from Tracy L. What other hobbies do you enjoy outside of music?
That's a good question. Movies. Like to
Movies,
watch a lot of
yeah.
movies, and then we talk about them at practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love movies.
For sure, like horror films too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to Crimes of the Future. Have you guys seen trailers for that?
Nope.
It's Cronenberg. It's gonna be good.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know.
Well, he likes cooking.
Yeah,
Oh, of
I
course.
love cooking. Yeah, that's
And
that's
I
a big
hate
one.
cooking. That's like my hobby.
Well, thanks for the question, Tracy. Have you guys done any short tours or anything? Is that something on the horizon?
We haven't. I wish we could say and talk about it, but no, we haven't. That's something we definitely want to do. It's definitely doable. And we've been talking about it, but just with work and other summer plans,
Yeah,
camping and stuff. That's another hobby.
Oh yeah, camping.
Yeah.
camping. Yeah.
Dakota Storm Morin, she says that Smoke Free Home is the best band ever. And then as far as I think an add on to the hobbies outside of music, she said camping question mark.
Yeah. We'll do it again. Yeah, we just recently went to the family's cabin.
Nice. So you enjoy camping?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's nice to get out and unplug, and inhale some campfire smoke, and kayaking is something that I really enjoy with my girlfriend, and I'm gonna drag you guys along one of these times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan Jones,
That's right.
what would you say your band's, oh man, a word that I have trouble saying, aesthetic is?
Yeah.
Thanks for the hard word.
That's a good question.
What is our aesthetic?
I think we purposefully clash. Kevin insists on wearing button-up long sleeves. Very fancy boy, and every show looks like a job interview.
Yep.
Yeah. He got the job.
I love it. He's very, very buttoned up. What's your aesthetic, Alex?
Oh.
Horror movie merch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much that.
I don't know. I like to keep it traditional.
He likes a Satori shirt with a cactus on it.
I wore it like 3 times, and now everybody thinks it's the only shirt that I own. No, I don't know. I think it's, I guess as far as artwork and our merch and stuff, it's very traditional, solid. I mean, I don't know. We don't do anything real crazy. I don't know. Black goes with everything, right?
Thanks, Megan, for the question. We had another question from Super Purple Cow. Wants to know, do you think the lyrics will ever be posted online? And they are, right?
They are. Yes,
Yep.
they are.
They're hidden.
They're on Bandcamp. I don't really know where else that we would post them, but yeah, they're out there. Bandcamp is where it is definitively. It's important to me that they're out there for people to find.
Do you guys enjoy the social media aspect of being in a band as far as posting? And I had Chestnut Grove on last week from the Pennsylvania area, and they hate it. I mean, something you guys don't enjoy either?
It's an obligation. I don't actually enjoy it. I wish that we lived, 40 years ago when we can just put posters up and have word of mouth. And if you come, you come. Buy our T-shirts. I don't like that we're obligated to do this. Alex is pretty good at it.
I mean, like, as individuals, we're not really social media people anyways. Like, I mean, my favorite social media is like eBay, if that counts. I mean,
It doesn't.
None of us like post regularly, so it's like joining a band, starting a band, and yeah, it's kind of an obligation. You have to learn how to do it, so we're still learning.
So if somebody messages a Smoke Free Home Facebook page, are they going to get Alex?
I do the Facebook.
Either one
He
of
does the
us.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? But yes, we're responsive, and I keep up with it because you got to talk to the fans. But I wish I didn't have to. I prefer to talk to them at the shows.
Yeah, don't talk to us.
Jesse, you mentioned the anxiety and the kind of the reason that you wrote the lyrics to Yellow and Red. I'm fascinated that you chose to be a front man for a band with the anxiety. I mean, and do you have any pre-show rituals to kind of help you get rid of that anxiety that you kind of do every night you perform?
Yeah, especially with out-of-town shows, I will have a bag of apple slices and some very strong coffee that I will work into my system. Maybe take a couple shots, and then I go up there, and I think I'm in the perfect zone. But I think being able to harness that anxiety and turn it into just raw energy on stage, I think that's really important, and that's how I function. That's how I do it. I suppose I'm not a very smiley guy on stage, guess I'll mean mug the audience, and the anxiety comes out in different ways. But it's been working so far. Seems to have a good response.
Is your voice ever just destroyed after a set?
Early on, but less and less. I find that I do write songs that will purposefully test me so that I can grow as an artist. And as far as like breath and being able to do harsher vocals longer, and I'm surprising myself with how we're growing. There's songs that I struggled with, and now they're just part of the set, right?
Is there one show that you've done so far that you'd consider your favorite smoke-free home show so far?
Boy. I mean, Halloween last year.
Yeah, Halloween was really fun.
A super fun show at the Reptile Palace.
We did one at Misfits the next night. But yeah, that earlier that night, Halloween, I had done 2 performances of War of the Worlds for theater, because I'm a thespian. You can ask about that later if you want. But I had to leave that, go home and change, and pretty much rush right away to the Halloween show, and I was just dead tired. But we squeezed it out, and holy cow, the reaction from the audience, it was fantastic.
Were you dressed up?
Yeah.
What were you dressed up as?
I don't remember.
we were the Droogs from Clockwork Orange, and I have never stressed so much and worked so hard on a jock strap.
Oh yeah,
3 of them.
he was boiling them, making sure they were the right color.
I was trying to dye them and bleach them, and it was ridiculous, but it ended up pretty good.
Yep.
And yeah, I love putting effort into costumes, and we're gonna do it again this year.
We're
so,
excited for next Halloween.
yeah, we're gonna try and get into Reptile Palace. We will be playing Reptile Palace for Halloween 2022. I'm gonna
Yes.
manifest it.
I was talking last night about
So
it.
there.
We'll
Yep.
see.
Put it on your calendars.
That's right.
Dakota said her favorite show was definitely Halloween, and the last house show was great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Friday 13th, so it was
That's right.
kind of fun because of that
We wanted
unluckiness.
that was the release day. We wanted it to be memorable.
Let's talk about the house shows, because that was even something that Brian and Sam mentioned from 94 Distortion. As far as the Oshkosh scene, are there more houses popping up that are doing shows?
We only played at the one house show. I mean, in Oshkosh. I mean, there's like one in Neenah that we play at a couple times. As for Oshkosh, I don't really know of many.
There's a couple in Neenah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then with the Rad Pad in Appleton, but I don't know
yeah.
if that was like a one-time thing. I don't
No,
know if they're
definitely
still
not.
doing things
They're doing
or
them,
not.
I'm blown away by the people that show up in Alex's basement.
Well, it's an undisclosed location.
Yes, I'm
we,
sorry.
we don't know whose
It's the-
basement. It
it's
could
the
be
fire.
anybody's basement.
The fire hazard. But man, in the summer, it just, I don't know if it's beer or sweat or condensation from the pipes, but the basement is wet afterwards.
nice.
And it's fantastic.
It's like a swamp down there
Yes,
afterwards.
it's beautiful. We create an environment.
Have you met a lot of new friends through playing shows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lunar Moth has been very kind to us, and they brought us in for a couple other shows. They're going to get us in some places in Madison. They said they would, but
Call them
they're-
out.
They're very kind and
Yeah.
good friends.
Met a lot of good people who are playing shows.
You guys played the Lyric Room recently, didn't you? Or semi-recently? Few months ago or something like that?
It was like January, yeah.
How was that experience? That's kind of the
That was great. It
cool place to play up in Green Bay.
Yeah, it was a cool place.
was a nice high stage.
Yeah, very nice stage and good sound too. That
Yeah.
one for sure.
Yeah, we'll be back there in like a week and a half.
Yeah, June 14th.
That's right.
What? That's with
weeks.
Cancer Slug?
Cancer Slug out of, I don't know where they're from, I forget, but been listening to them for a while, so that'll be a cool one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like some of these shows, Alex just kind of weasels his way in there. That's one of your many talents, Alex, is just kind of being like, hey, you need an opener? Just like popping in their DMs.
Yeah, it's worked a couple times now, pretty
Cactus
well.
Club.
Cactus Club, we played there with Radkey.
We had no business playing at Cactus Club with Radkey, but it was fantastic. That was so much fun.
I think Radkey's going to be at Mile of Music this year.
That's
up in
right,
Appleton.
I
I'm
saw
super
that.
excited for that,
Yeah.
too.
We had another question from Tracy. What's your favorite band that you've opened for so far?
Open for. I mean,
Well,
that's,
I mean, it'd be Radkey for
that's an
me.
easy answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite an experience.
Otherwise, I mean, Shuby is blowing up,
Yeah.
and I think they're really cool. And I don't know. That's a band that we're proud to open for.
Yeah.
So besides Shuby, are there other bands from the Oshkosh scene that are kind of bending your ear a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we like The Present Age, Generation Y is from the area.
And I guess some bands that aren't from the area, Jazzcore Friction from Janesville. That's
Yeah.
definitely a favorite.
They're playing more and more. Yeah.
And then of course Lunar Moth from Madison.
Both
They're
Lunar Moth,
great.
yeah. There's probably more. We're so bad at this. We're going to forget a very important one and be like,
Yep. On the drive home, we're gonna kick ourselves.
we're sorry.
We'll do a voiceover later.
94 Distortion.
Yeah.
Question from Patrick McShay. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
What pedal situation do you use to get that dope sound?
That dope sound. Honestly, the majority of the sound is just coming from a ODB3 Boss distortion bass pedal. That's the main, and then I use a Electro Harmonics Pog 2 for the it's an octave pedal to kind of get the high end. And then just splitting it between the two amps is really essential to kind of get the higher ends from the guitar amp, and then all the low stuff from the bass amp.
The result is what's referred to professionally as a dope tone.
I think he was
Exactly.
actually talking about the bass drum pedal, but I mean, what he's talking about is cool too. But
Have you had any malfunctions with that setup?
I have more than I'd like to admit.
I mean, if like you lost your like octave pedal or something that would like really change the sound of the songs, that would be kind of interesting to play through.
Yeah. I mean, I've had more issues with amps than my pedal board. Usually my pedal board has been kind to me, but yeah, amp situation sometimes isn't the greatest. Like I blew a bass cab once. A show we played recently, my guitar head just stopped working. And we played at Misfits once, and there's just power issues, and it's just like,
That was fun.
What do you do in that situation? Just grin and
Right,
proceed on?
Through it, yeah.
try to calm down, take a
we
deep
just start
breath, and
screaming.
just figure it out.
I never notice whenever there's any problems, unless like the monitors are out or something. I never notice, and I look over and what's wrong with Kevin's face? That was fine. What happened?
You're like, my mic stand is fine now. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, my equipment is functioning.
And Alex, you haven't had any
Well,
drum
you know,
malfunctions?
Drum malfunctions, no. We did do a show once where I was playing the bass. We had swapped, and then I was like, something doesn't sound right. And I go over to Kevin. I'm like, something doesn't sound right. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you right now. 'Cause, like, we're in the middle of it. And then like we switch back over, and he's like, oh, it's like unplugged. Like half of it is unplugged, so like it's only going through one amp, so it didn't sound right. I was like, that'd be it, because I don't know as much of what's going on that thing that he does. So
It's all magic. I have no idea what any of that is. No.
Alex, were you worried that Kevin was going to blame it on you and make you pay for the damages? Megan says, I can confirm it was ridiculous. I'm not sure what part of the conversation,
Maybe
but
a Halloween show.
that could be.
I don't know. Yeah, she had fun. That's my girlfriend.
How long have you been dating?
A few years. Are you obligated to ask that?
No, I'm just asking.
he doesn't know.
So what can you give us a few of the lyrics that are going to be in the ballad?
Oh gosh. Yes.
Write them down and pass them to him.
Well, I don't want to put you on the spot if you can't think of them off the top of your head.
They're pretty simple. It's it's very personal. Like there's music if you listen, dance circles in the kitchen, and who doesn't dance with their significant other in the kitchen? If you don't, then you're doing
Did
something
Then
wrong.
get a divorce.
Or they cook maybe.
did Megan have to make any edits to the song? Did you?
No, no. It's not that personal. No, she didn't know about it. I like to keep my secrets until they're ready. Yeah.
What's the hardest part of being in a band?
Sometimes for me it's the late nights. I know that sounds weak, and it's always worth it. Even if I get just a couple hours of sleep before work, it's always worth it. But sometimes those long drives and the late nights, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. With long weekends, usually I'm a chef in a restaurant in Oshkosh, and
Say the name.
Gardina's in Oshkosh.
Eat at Gardina's.
And yeah, sometimes the weekends can be real long.
Yeah, just balancing work life and music life can be pretty tough. So
Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing that you're proud of in the band, what are you the most proud of?
These boys. These two beautiful boys. I'm proud of how we've come so far, and we've released a couple of things very quickly, I think, and we're competent musicians. We haven't really had a whole lot of failings or problems, and
just real wood.
Veneer, I think.
yeah. But we are genuine, and I haven't had a moment yet where I get home afterwards and I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh, that was weird and fake, you know. We've been able to build something that's real and genuine, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of you. We'll work on you.
Well, I want to thank you guys for doing the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
The
thank you.
latest album is Nervous Strut. I suggest everybody go check it out. It's all over the place. You can find it on Bandcamp, Spotify. You guys have physical copies available as well.
Absolutely. We have so many.
Boatloads.
Come by them. Yeah. Good.
Thanks again, guys. You've been watching Smoke Free Home on WCZR's Fox Cities Core here on Code Zero Radio.